The Hebrew Bible, 5 books of Moses, Exodus, chapter 6. And God spoke to Moses and said to him, I am the Lord, and I appeared to Abraham, to Isaac, and to Jacob as El Shaddai, but in my name the Lord I was not known to them. And I also established my covenant with them to give them the land of Canaan, the land of their sojournings in which they sojourned. And also I myself have heard the groaning of the Israelites, whom the Egyptians enslave, and I do remember my covenant. Therefore say to the Israelites, I am the Lord. I will take you out under the burdens of Egypt, and I will rescue you from their bondage, and I will redeem you with an outstretched arm and with great retributions. And I will take you to me as a people, and I will be your God, and you shall know that I am the Lord your God, who takes you out from under the burdens of Egypt. And I will bring you to the land that I raised my hand and pledged to give to Abraham, to Isaac, and to Jacob. And I will give it to you as an inheritance. I am the Lord. And Moses spoke those to the Israelites, but they did not heed Moses out of shortness of breath and hard bondage. And the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, Come, speak to Pharaoh, king of Egypt, that he send off the Israelites from his land. And Moses spoke before the Lord, saying, Look, the Israelites did not heed me. And how will Pharaoh heed me, and I am uncircumcised of lips? And the Lord spoke to Moses and to Aaron, and he charged them regarding the Israelites and regarding Pharaoh, king of Egypt, to bring out the Israelites from the land of Egypt. These are the heads of their fathers' houses. The sons of Reuben, Israel's firstborn, Enoch and Palu, Hezron and Carmi. These are the clans of Reuben. And the sons of Simeon, Jemuel and Jamin, and Ohad and Jachin, and Zohar and Saul, son of the Canaanite woman. These are the clans of Simeon. And these are the names of the sons of Levi, according to their lineage, Gershon and Kohath and Merari. And the years of the life of Levi were 137 years. The sons of Gershon, Libni and Shimei, according to their clans. And the sons of Kohath, Amram and Izhar and Hebron and Uzziel. And the years of the life of Kohath were 133 years. And the sons of Merari, Mali and Mushi. These are the clans of the Levite according to their lineage. And Amram took him as his wife, and Jochebed his aunt, and she bore him Aaron and Moses. And the years of the life of Amram were 137 years. And the sons of Izhar, Korah and Nepheg and Zihri, and the sons of Uzziel, Mishael and Elzaphan and Shitri. And Aaron took him Elisheba, daughter of Aminadab, sister of Nashon, as wife, and she bore him Nadab and Abihu, Eleazar and Ithamar, the sons of Korah, Asir and Elkanah and Abiasaph. These are the clans of the Korahite. And Eleazar, son of Aaron, had taken him a wife from the daughters of Putiel, and she bore him Phinehas. These are the heads of the fathers of the Levites, according to their clans. It was the very Aaron and Moses to whom the Lord said, Bring out the Israelites from the land of Egypt in their battalions. It was they who were speaking to Pharaoh, king of Egypt, to bring out the Israelites from Egypt, the very Moses and Aaron. And it happened on the day the Lord spoke to Moses in the land of Egypt, that the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, I am the Lord. Speak to Pharaoh, king of Egypt, all that I speak to you. And Moses said before the Lord, Look, I am uncircumcised of lips, and how will Pharaoh? Chapter 7. And the Lord said to Moses, See, I have set you as a God to Pharaoh, and Aaron your brother will be your prophet. You it is who will speak all that I charge you, and Aaron your brother will speak to Pharaoh. And he will send off the Israelites from his land, and I on my part shall harden Pharaoh's heart, that I may multiply my signs and my portents in the land of Egypt. And Pharaoh will not heed you, and I shall set my hand against Egypt, and I shall bring out my battalions, my people, the Israelites, from the land of Egypt with great retributions, that the Egyptians may know that I am the Lord when I stretch out my hand over Egypt and bring out the Israelites from their midst. And Moses and Aaron with him did as the Lord had charged. Thus did they do. And Moses was 80 years old, and Aaron was 83 years old when they spoke to Pharaoh. And the Lord said to Moses and to Aaron, saying, Should Pharaoh speak to you, saying, Give you a portent, you shall say to Aaron, Take your staff and fling it down before Pharaoh, and let it become a serpent. And Moses and Aaron with him came to Pharaoh, and they did as the Lord had charged. And Aaron flung down his staff before Pharaoh and before his servants, and it became a serpent. And Pharaoh too called for the sages and sorcerers, and they too, soothsayers of Egypt, did those with their spells. And each flung down his staff, and they became serpents. And Aaron's staff swallowed their staffs. And Pharaoh's heart toughened, and he did not heed them, just as the Lord had spoken. And the Lord said to Moses, Pharaoh's heart is hard. He refuses to send off the people. Go to Pharaoh in the morning. Look, he will be going out to the water, and you shall be poised to meet him on the bank of the Nile. And the staff that turned into a snake you shall take in your hand, and you shall say to him, The Lord God of the Hebrews sent me to you, saying, Send off my people, that they may worship me in the wilderness. And look, you have not heeded as yet. Thus said the Lord, By this shall you know that I am the Lord. Look, I am about to strike with the staff in my hand on the water that is in the Nile, and it will turn into blood. And the fish that are in the Nile will die, and the Nile will stink. And the Egyptians will not be able to drink water from the Nile. And the Lord said to Moses, Say to Aaron, Take your staff and stretch out your hand over the waters of Egypt, over their rivers, and over their Nile channels, and over their ponds, and over all the gathering of their waters, that they become blood. And there shall be blood in all the land of Egypt, and in the trees, and in the stones. And Moses and Aaron did those as the Lord had charged, and he raised the staff and struck the water that was in the Nile before the eyes of Pharaoh and the eyes of his servants, and all the water that was in the Nile turned to blood. And the fish that were in the Nile died, and the Nile stunk, and the Egyptians could not drink water from the Nile, and the blood was in all the land of Egypt. And the soothsayers of Egypt did those with their spells, and Pharaoh's heart toughened, and he did not heed them, just as the Lord had spoken. And Pharaoh turned and came into his house, and this too he did not take to heart. And all of Egypt dug round the Nile for water to drink, for they could not drink the water of the Nile. And 7 full days passed after the Lord struck the Nile. And the Lord said to Moses, Come to Pharaoh, and you shall say to him, Thus said the Lord, Send off my people that they may worship me. And if you refuse to send them off, look, I am about to scorch all your region with frogs. And the Nile will swarm with frogs, and they will come up and come into your house, and into your bedchamber, and onto your couch, and into your servant's house, and upon your people, and into your ovens, and into your kneading pans, and upon you, and upon your people, and upon all your slaves the frogs will come. Chapter 8. And the Lord said to Moses, Say to Aaron, Stretch out your hand with your staff over the rivers, over the Nile channels, and over the ponds, and bring up the frogs over the land of Egypt. And Aaron stretched out his hand over the waters of Egypt, and the frogs came up and covered the land of Egypt. And the soothsayers did those with their spells, and brought up frogs over the land of Egypt. And Pharaoh called to Moses and to Aaron, and said, Entreat the Lord that he take away the frogs from me and from my people, and I shall send off the people that they may sacrifice to the Lord. And Moses said to Pharaoh, You may vaunt over me, as for when I should entreat you and for your servants and for your people to cut off the frogs from you and from your houses. Only in the Nile will they remain. And he said, For tomorrow. And he said, As you have spoken, so that you may know there is none like the Lord our God. and the frogs will turn away from you and from your houses and from your servants and from your people. Only in the Nile will they remain. And Moses and Aaron with him went out from Pharaoh's presence. And Moses cried out to the Lord concerning the frogs that he put upon Pharaoh. And the Lord did according to Moses' words. And the frogs died out of the houses and out of the courtyards and out of the fields, and they piled them up heap upon heap, and the land stunk. And Pharaoh saw that there was relief, and he hardened his heart and did not heed them, just as the Lord had spoken. And the Lord said to Moses, Say to Aaron, Stretch out your staff and strike the dust of the land, and there will be lice in all the land of Egypt. And those they did. And Aaron stretched out his hand and with his staff and struck the dust of the land, and there were lice in the man and in the beast. All the dust of the land became lice in all the land of Egypt. And those the soothsayers of Egypt did with their spells to take out the lice, but they were unable, and the lice were in man and in beast. And they soothsayers said to Pharaoh, God's finger it is. And Pharaoh's heart toughened, and he did not heed them, just as the Lord had spoken. And the Lord said to Moses, Rise early in the morning and station yourself before Pharaoh. Look, he will be going out to the water, and say to him, Thus said the Lord, Send off my people, that they may worship me. For if you do not send off my people, I am about to send against you and against you servants and against your people and against your houses the horde. And the houses of Egypt will be filled with a horde, and the soil too on which they stand. But I shall set apart on that day the land of Goshen, upon which my people stands, so that no horde will be there, that you may know that I am the Lord in the midst of the land. And I shall set ransom between my people and your people. Tomorrow this sign will be. And those the Lord did. And a heavy horde came into the house of Pharaoh, in the house of his servants, and in all the land of Egypt. The land was ravaged in the face of the horde. And Pharaoh called to Moses and to Aaron and said, Go sacrifice to your God in the land. And Moses said, It is not right to do thus. For the abomination of Egypt we shall sacrifice the Lord our God. If we sacrifice the abomination of Egypt before their eyes, will they not stone us? A 3 days' journey into the wilderness we shall go, and we shall sacrifice to the Lord our God as he had said to us. And Pharaoh said, I myself will send you off, that you may sacrifice to the Lord your God in the wilderness. Only you must not go far away. Entreat on my behalf. And Moses said, Look, I am going out from your presence, and I shall entreat the Lord, that the horde may turn away from Pharaoh and from his servants and from his people tomorrow. Only let not the Pharaoh continue to mock by not sending the people off to sacrifice to the Lord. And Moses went out from Pharaoh's presence and entreated the Lord. And the Lord did according to Moses' word, and the horde turned away from Pharaoh and from his servants and from his people. Not one remained. And Pharaoh hardened his heart this time too, and he did not send off the people. Chapter 9. And the Lord said to Moses, Come into Pharaoh, and you shall speak to him. Thus said the Lord, God of the Hebrews, Send off my people, that they may worship me. But if you refuse to send them off, and you still hold on to them, look, the hand of the Lord is about to be against you. Your livestock which is in the field, against the horses, against the donkeys, against the camels, against the cattle, and against the sheep. A very heavy pestilence. And the Lord will set apart the livestock of Israel from the livestock of Egypt. Nothing of the Israelites will die. And the Lord set a fixed time, saying, Tomorrow the Lord will do this thing in the land. And the Lord did this thing on the next day, and all the livestock of Egypt died. But of the livestock of Israel, not one died. And Pharaoh sent, and look, not a single one had died in the livestock of Israel. And Pharaoh's heart hardened, and he did not send off the people. And the Lord said to Moses and to Aaron, Take you handfuls of soot from the kiln, and let Moses throw it toward the heavens before Pharaoh's eyes. and it shall become a fine dust over all the land of Egypt, and it shall become on man and on beast burning rash erupting in boils in all the land of Egypt. And they took the soot from the kiln and stood before Pharaoh, and Moses threw it toward the heavens, and it became a burning rash with boils erupting on man and on beast. And the soothsayers could not stand before Moses because of the burning rash, for the burning rash was on the soothsayers and all in all Egypt. And the Lord toughened Pharaoh's heart, and he did not heed them, as the Lord had spoken to Moses. And the Lord said to Moses, Rise early in the morning and station yourself before Pharaoh, and you shall say to him, Thus said the Lord, God of the Hebrews, Send off my people that they may worship me. For this time I am about to send all my scourges to your heart and against your servants and against your people, so that you may now know that there is none like me in all the earth. For by now I could have sent forth my hand, and I could have struck you and your people with pestilence, and you would have been wiped off the face of the earth. And yet for this I have let you stand, so as to show you my power, and so that my name will be told through all the earth. You still block me the way to my people, not sending them off. Look, I am about to rain down very heavily hail at this time tomorrow, the like of which has not been seen in Egypt from the day of its founding until now. And now send, gather in your livestock and everything you have in the field, every man and the beasts that will be in the field, and that are not taken indoors. The hail shall come down on them, and they shall die. Whoever feared the Lord's word among Pharaoh's servants sheltered his slaves and his livestock indoors. And whoever paid no mind to the Lord's word left his slaves and his livestock in the field. And the Lord said to Moses, Stretch out your hand over the heavens, that there he be hail in all the land of Egypt, upon man and upon beast, and upon all the grass of the field in the land of Egypt. And Moses stretched out his hand over the heavens, and the Lord let loose thunder and hail, and fire went along earthward. And the Lord rained hail on the land of Egypt. And there was very heavy hail, with fire flashing in the midst of the hail, the like of which there had not been in all the land of Egypt from the time it became a nation. And the hail struck through all the land of Egypt, whatever was in the field, from man to beast, and all the grass of the field did the hail strike, and every tree of the field did it smash. Only in the land of Goshen, in which the Israelites were, was there no hail. And Pharaoh sent and called to Moses and to Aaron, and said to them, I have offended this time. The Lord is in the right, and I and my people are in the wrong. Entreat the Lord, and no more of God's thunder and hail, and let me send you off. And you shall not continue to stay. And Moses said to him, As I go out the city, I shall spread out my hands to the Lord. The thunder will stop, and the hail will be no more, so that you may know that the earth is in the Lord's. And as for you and your servants, I know that you still do not fear the Lord God. And the flax and the barley were stuck, for the barley was in bud, and the flax was in ear, but the wheat and the emmer were unripened. And Moses went out from the Pharaoh's presence, out of the city, and spread out his hand to the Lord. And the thunder stopped, and the hail and the rain were not loosed earthward. And Pharaoh saw that the rain and the hail and the thunder had stopped, and he continued to offend. And he hardened his heart, both he and his servants, and Pharaoh's heart toughened, and he did not send off the Israelites, just as the Lord had spoken through. Chapter 10. And the Lord said to Moses, Come unto Pharaoh, for I myself have hardened his heart, and the heart of his servants, so that I may say these things of mine in his midst, and so that you may tell in the hearing of your son and your son's son how I toyed with Egypt, and my signs that I set upon them, and you shall know that I am the Lord. And Moses and Aaron with him came into Pharaoh, and they said to him, Thus said the Lord God of the Hebrews, How long can you refuse to humble yourself before me? send off my people that they may worship me. For if you refuse to send off my people, look, I am about to bring tomorrow locusts in all your territory, and it will cover the eye of the land, and one will not be able to see the land. And it will consume the rest of the remnant left you from the hail, and it will consume every tree you have growing in the field, and they will fill your houses, and the houses of all your servants, and the houses of all Egypt, the like of which your fathers did not see, nor your fathers' fathers, from the day that they were on the soil until this day. And he turned and went out from Pharaoh's presence. And Pharaoh's servants said to him, How long will this fellow be snare to us? Send off the man that they may worship the Lord their God. Do you not yet know that Egypt is lost? Moses and Aaron with him were brought back to Pharaoh, and he said to them, Go worship the Lord your God. Just who is going? Moses said, With our lads and with our old man we will go. With our sons and with our daughters, with our sheep and with our cattle we will go. For it is a festival of the Lord for us. And he said to them, May the Lord be with you, the way I would send you off with your little ones. For evil is before your faces. Not so. Go, pray the man and worship the Lord, for that is what you seek. And he drove them out from Pharaoh's presence. And the Lord said to Moses, Stretch out your hand over the land of Egypt for the locusts, that I may come up over the land of Egypt and consume all the grass of the land that the hail left behind. And then Moses stretched out his hand staff over the land of Egypt, and the Lord drove an east wind into the land all the day and all the night. When it was morning, the east wind bore the locust. And the locust went up over all the land of Egypt and settled very heavy over all the territory of Egypt. Before there had never been locust like it, and after it there never would be. And it covered the eye of the land, and the land went dark. And it consumed all the grass of the land and every fruit of the tree that hail had left, and nothing green in the tree or in the grass of the field was left in all the land of Egypt. And Pharaoh hastened to call to Moses and to Aaron, and he said, I have offended before the Lord your God and before you, and now forgive, pray, my offense just this time, and entreat the Lord your God that he but take away from me this death. And he went out from Pharaoh's presence and entreated the Lord, and the Lord turned round a very strong west wind, and it bore off the locust and thrust it into the sea of reeds. Not a locust remained in all the territory of Egypt. And the Lord toughened Pharaoh's heart, and he did not send the Israelites off. And the Lord said to Moses, Stretch out your hand over the heavens, that there be darkness upon the land of Egypt, a darkness one can feel. And Moses stretched out his hand over the heavens, and there was a pitch dark in all the land of Egypt 3 days. No one saw his fellow, and no one rose from where he was 3 days. But all the Israelites had light in their dwelling places. And Pharaoh called to Moses and said, Go worship the Lord. Only your sheep and your cattle will be set aside. Your little ones too may go with you. And Moses said, You yourself too shall provide us sacrifices and burnt offerings, that we may do them to the Lord our God. And our livestock too shall go with us, not a hoof shall remain. For from it we shall take the worship to the Lord our God. And we ourselves cannot know with what we shall worship the Lord our God until we come there. And the Lord toughened Pharaoh's heart, and he did not want to send them off. And Pharaoh said to him, Go away from me, watch yourself. Do not again see my face, for on the day you see my face you shall die. Moses said, Rightly have you spoken. I will not see your face again.